Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today is January 25th, 2021, and look at that, we're done with the month of January, at least with this video series, because by the time we get back to you, it'll be February. So, lots of fun stuff coming then, because we'll get a February Stash Report and the monthly recap pretty much in the same very quick, short time span, so that'll be fun. Many videos to record and upload and things for you to enjoy. So this week we have a few domestic kit releases, a few international kit releases, as well as a few kit announcements. Tamiya themselves had a big shindig online here. Would have been very late Sunday night for us here in the United States, because it was done at like 3 p.m. Japan time, which was 3 a.m. Monday morning for us here on the East Coast. Your mileage may vary depending upon your time zone, but they did announce a brand new 124 scale kit, as well as a reissue of another 124 scale kit from the 1980s, and we'll cover those in half a second. But just went, oh no! Oh yes, because we have a few restocks from Aoshima to cover first. So in the March 2021 restocks, we have the 2012 or 2012. Yeah, I used to 2012. I normally would say 2012 for that. Got stopped myself there. The 2012 Toyota Hilux Hot DNA VIP van, the Liberty Walk Ken and Mary 4-door, the number 3 kit in that series, the Liberty Walk Hakasuka Skyline, the number 4 kit in that series, as well as the Liberty Walk Ken and Mary Skyline 2-door 2014 version, and that is that powder blue car that we talk about all the time. This is the number 6 kit in that series. In 16-inch wheels, you're going to get 16-inch Watanabe, 16-inch Longchamp XR4s, 16-inch P1 Racings, and 16-inch Volk TE37s. The seasoned among you will recognize those as being the wheel sets from the AE86 Truno and Levins that they put out from time to time. In 20-inch wheels, you get Traffic Star ATS reissues, and in 19-inch wheels, you get a reissue of the Advan RS, the Volk RT30s, and the OS Model T6. Also, in the ongoing Initial D stuff, you get a reissue of the 25th anniversary, or 25th anniversary packaging of the Initial D AA6 Truno Volume 1, and then adding to that, we also get the reissue of the Takahashi Kaisuke FD3 SRX7 in the Project D format, and the Hoshino Kuzo R34 GTR from the Project D series as well. So those kits are coming back. Looks like they're going to get the new box art where they get the little sticker added for the 25th anniversary. So those are technically considered to be new issues by Aoshima because of the slightly different box art. As we mentioned, Tamiya, they announced, if I can find my folder here, the reissue is going to be the Sauber C9, which is, of course, the Le Mans winning car from 1988, I think. It might be the completely wrong year, and you guys could blast me for that. I'm just pulling it out of the thin air, because I think that's what it is. But that kit's from that period of time, 1987, 1988. It is the silver car. It is being reissued for the first time in a long time. It did get reissued with that computer graphics style livery as well in the I think it was the early 2000s when that kit came out, but the original silver one has soldiered on in the catalog for a good while, but it's been discontinued for several years, so it's being brought back. Decals by Cartograph allows you to build all 3 team cars, which is what the old decals did as well. And then they're adding window masks to it, and there's also going to be a small sheet of PE added to it, very small, like a few vents and things like that, but a nice little bonus feature as well. So if you're interested in that kit and you're tired of trying to find one with a decent set of decals, didn't want to go try to find the also out of production Shunko Models decal replacements for it, you save your time and your effort, because that will be coming out. I've seen a Marchish release on that, so that may be coming around then. We'll let you know once we get something more firm on that. And then the new toolkit, and this is something as the time has gone on here, I've developed some thoughts on, because my initial thought was, oh, okay, that's interesting. And it is going to be a new 124 scale Nissan Datsun Fairlady Z, or as we would call it here, a 240Z G. The ZG is the top of the line trim level for 240s, or Fairlady Zs as they're known in Japan. This is the one with the extended sort of Endura, if you will, nose that has the polycarbonate headlight covers and the longer nose piece. These were only available in Japan, although the G model pieces, again, we've talked about in the past, were sold over the counter at Datsun dealerships here because that was a requirement for them to be raced in U.S. Classes at the time, because the ZG is actually the result of the required homologation, always trip over that word, for Group 4 racing back in the day. So that car was used in Group 4 racing series here in the United States, but in order to be used in Group 4 racing in the United States, the parts had to be sold here, even though technically the car with those headlight covers is illegal in the United States in 1971 when this car came out, because, well, we all had to have sealed beams, and if you've ever thought about it, so many Asian and European cars were made so ugly during that time period because of that mandatory headlight thing. They had to have whole new front fascias put on it, which doesn't even get into the parking bunch bumpers that got added in the mid-1970s, but that's a whole other subject for another day. At any rate, this is going to be a full detail kit, so there is going to be an engine in here, so that's a nice feature. It's got the 2.4-liter inline six, and we're going to show you this little thing here. They're saying that they're going to include metal sticker type things for the headlight surrounds, because in real life those things are sort of held in with like a chrome piece of trim ring, and then also those really god ugly wheels that were included in these ZGs as a factory option are going to be multi-piece. I'm not sure how that breaks down, because this CAD image really, I mean, it shows you different pieces and parts being different colors. That sort of lets you know what parts are being molded for what things. If you have a vision of what CAD looks like as a whole. Obviously, the wheels are purple, so they're separate from the middle parts, and part of that is silver, parts of it are gray, so I'm not exactly sure how that's going to sandwich together in two pieces, but if those are two-piece wheels, or maybe three-piece wheels, or how many ever piece wheels they want to make them in order for them to be separate, so you can paint the silver parts silver, or if they're chromed, because technically they're almost a chrome color, and I can paint the other part that weird gunmetal-y gray color that they are in real life, and then put them together, much like the Toyota Supra, the new Toyota Supra wheels, where the black parts are separate from the chrome parts, so that you put them together and you don't have to paint the wheel, mask half the wheel off to do that. That would be totally awesome sauce. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing exactly how that part specifically breaks down, because as I said, my thought process on this kit has changed. Because right now, with the Hasagawa 240Zs being reissued with the left-hand drive components, including the Mr. K's, which is the President of North America's car that has the wire wheels in it and the ZG nose attached to it, because that was his car here in the United States. I'm pretty much 240Z'd out. I have a Z432, which is another homologated version of the car, and then I have a Fujimi ZG, a Fujimi Z432, and a Fujimi ZG. And I was thinking, well, maybe I'll sell my Fujimi ZG. The Fujimi kits are interesting. They have two complete engines in them, the regular 2.4, and then the engine out of the 73 Skyline, which again is another inline six, but it's a much more interesting one. But those kits are molded with the hood closed. There's no real engine bay. It's just basically you're putting an engine into a hole, and you have to build scratchable engine bay. There's no firewall. There's no fender details. There's no strut tower tops. There's no battery. There's no radiator. There's no nothing, right? Well, actually, that's not true. There is a radiator in the kit, but there's no hoses for it, because that kit's originally curbside that they added engines to afterwards. So it's a cool kit, but it's a lot of work to make that into something really presentable at a show. I know that's not everybody's build standard. It's not normally my build standard either, but it's really obvious when you look at it that, hey, that just is an engine sitting in there without anything around it, and you can see through to the ground because there's no firewall. And then, because the thought process is, well, it's a Tamiya kit, so this is going to probably be nominally speaking, the most accurate, because the Hasagawa body is really good. The most accurate 240Z Fairlady Z that's ever been done, and it's full detail. It's going to have an engine bay, and it's going to be, Tamiya. And yeah, as I thought about that, I was like, yeah, you know what? I am going to get rid of my Fujimi ZG. I'm going to get this kit whenever it comes out. I'm going to say late spring, early summer. Not saying anything about it. Only images of it are those 3 CAD images that they shared, so there doesn't appear to be an actual like tooling done, or at least not what they'll admit to. And so that probably puts us closer to a May release. I'm going to say it's going to come out right before Shizuoka. Now Shizuoka is going to be virtual again because of the COVID vaccine. Well, yes, because there aren't enough of that, and because of coronavirus in general. But it's going to be virtual again this year. But if you know Tamiya, they tend to show you what they just are releasing prior to the next show, and then they tell you the next thing. Because this January thing, in addition to showing the Sauber and this new Nissan, is also touting the 120 scale Fiat that still has not come out yet, as well as the McLaren Senna, which may or may not be out, depending on what part of the world you live in, because for some reason, annoyingly, Canada has it, and so does Hong Kong, but not in the United States. But that Senna is, a big part of this announcement because it's a brand new kit. So my assumption would be it may be May here in the United States, but probably for Japan, or maybe April here in the United States. But for Japan, it's probably going to come out in May. It's probably going to come out right before that show would happen, which will be the end of May. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm, as again, as the sort of the week has gone by, I've sort of thought about it. And went, well, you know what? Maybe I'm not totally against it, but I do need to get rid of the kit I would be replacing it with because I don't need two ZGs. So anybody wants a Fujimi ZG, let me know. 2 engines. Kit's pretty decent. Just don't put the engine in it. So there's that. Now we'll go over to kit releases for this week. And again, like I said, there are a couple of domestic kits here. Just literally 2, and then everything else will be Japanese. So first up from the round 2 folks, we got the release this week of the 1972 GMC Jimmy drag racing doohickey. Now you don't have to build it as a drag racing doohickey. You can build it just as it's a factory stock Jimmy. This is basically the sister twin kit to the 72 Chevy Blazer that has come out a few different times. I think most recently in the Universal Construction series. And this has, other than having 4 pad printed drag slicks and obviously a fuel injected motor, is basically the same kit with a different grill and a different hood. The body and the rest of the interior, the body and the rest of the pieces on this are pretty much the same. I don't necessarily think there's anything different about the interior per se. The big differences, as far as the people who have mentioned it, is the hood and the grille. And then, of course, the drag racing parts, because the drag racing parts weren't in the Blazer. But, I guess where I'm going with this is if you've built the Blazer or you've tried to build the Blazer, then this is going to be that same build experience, just slightly more racy. So it's the same thing. The top comes off. Everything about this is the same as the Blazer, other than the front end of it. So there's that. And then the other kit this week is the Salvinos release for the month of January, and is the AJ Foyt Racing 9079 Oldsmobile 442. This is a very lightly sponsored car. I don't believe there's any hood or trunk sponsors on this. Just got the little Valvolines on the side. It's a very period racing decals there. So, it's a cool thing especially if you're into AJ Foyt or just vintage NASCAR. So that's back out there for folks who are interested in that. And then we go overseas to Japan. We have 2 releases from Hasagawa this week, and then everything else will be Aoshima properties. So first up from the Hasagawa folks, you have the Lancia Delta HF Integral Evolution Blue Lagos, where we're going to see a box and we're going to fill it with text. So this was a special edition of the Delta that was made as a commemorative edition for their rallying. And there were 215 of these built at the time, and the kit is molded in blue, and it comes with yellow decals. But otherwise, the contents are the exact same road version of the Delta HF Integral, including the wheels. Everything's the same. Mine's a little too far away to grab, but at any rate, that's back out there for people who are interested in it. There was a Studio 27 decal set that was done that has the trim levels for like a whole slew of these special edition Deltas, but yeah, this is the first one that's been done in box. And then the other release is a reissue of the BMW 2002 Ti as a Bavarian police car. So this has a new clear runner thrown into it that has that big goofy beacon on top. And everybody should right now be going hee haw, making that European siren noise because I mean we all get on the ground and play with our cars, right? New decal set, obviously. The kit itself identical to the other 2002 Ti's, other than the inclusion of that clear runner. I think the clear runner is new. I really do. I have to look at a couple of my other ones to see if that police light's been in there, because I don't think it has been, else I would have noticed it. I have all of them, including 3 of the rally kits, because there are like 4 or 5 pieces on that clear runner, and you don't use any of the other ones, which means there's other versions of this coming, or they plan to make police cars out of other things. You know, it maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the same beacon that's used on their Fairlady Z police car, and therefore would have round lights for the grill that are not used in this car. That may be where that's from, now that I'm thinking about it. But at any rate, that's out there if you want to make a Bavarian period police car. It's an accurate decal set and stuff like that for 1972, 73 Bavarian National Police, so, or Bavarian Regional Police. But anyway, that's back out there for, again, people interested in it. So, over at Aoshima, in the supercar lineup, we get another kick out of the Pangani Warrior. It's, you know, just regular boxing at this point. It's been out for quite a few years, and it was the second kit in the supercar retune lineup, so this has even been out, you know, several years in this fashion. And then also comes with, available separately, sold separately, is the PE set. If you want to add the detail, it comes with the turn metal exhausts and the carpeting, the seatbelt material rather, and the metal stickers and all sorts of fun stuff in there. Then on the reissue side of things here, there's the standard stuff. You have a reissue of the 1988 Toyota Mark II. This does come with an engine insert, so it's kind of cool that way. Got a reissue of the Lamborghini Countach 5000 Quattro in its supercar lineup. I didn't notice this when this actually was reissued last year, and I didn't mention it because I didn't realize. But this, or maybe I didn't, I don't remember. But at any rate, I'm going to reinform you that this actually has the parts to build this either as a early 1980s 5000 or later 1980s 5000. The big difference between those two, other than the wings style in the back, is the carbureted engine versus the fuel injected engine. You may recall, let me get at I'm looking at a wrong screen here. As you may recall, in your Countaches, the 5000 Quattro, which is this bottom one, this white one right here, is a carbureted version. And then they released that one right there, which represents like a 1985, I think it is, Countach, and that has a fuel-injected engine. So they've merged these two together into one kit, which is pretty nifty because it gives you all the building options of their 5000 QV series in one box. So, I mean, it's just the top half, like, induction part that's different, but still, it's cool to have all the parts, and you don't have to buy 2 separate kits and then, you know, have 2 separate Quattros. You just buy one and build whichever one tickles your fancy the most. And then a reissue of the Pandora Copen, or the Daihatsu Copen Pandora edition. This is the Copen that has the 911 style bumpers added to it, which is fun because there's 911 style decals for this kit as well. And then you have a reissue of this 78 Cedric Gloria from Nissan. Differences here are the grills, as well as the taillight panels. I believe there might be a minor difference with the interior as far as like the steering wheels go. It's been a while since I've looked at mine, but that's back out. Got to build one or the other. There are not 2 kits in there. And then you have a reissue of the 2012-2015 Toyota Crown Athlete. So different wheels, different front fascias are pretty much the difference between these two. These are another set of kits that were sold separately in the past that have been merged together. Again, this kit's been out for probably a year and a half now in this format, so it's just a reissue. And then last but not least, finally, we've got a reissue of the Bryan James Trailers A4 Transporter. This is something that has been touted as being reissued several times recently, but it has not actually come out till now. So that is finally available again for folks. And this is very cool at this point because I know a lot of people were like, oh, I would buy that, but what am I going to tow it with? Well, now, haha, all of the Aoshima Range Rovers have been reissued, so now you actually legitimately have a British vehicle to tow your British trailer with. The CV on this thing is like 4,000 pounds, so it's just sturdy enough. It doesn't look like it, but it's just sturdy enough to tow a full-size car from like the 60s maybe, like a muscle car or a bunch of other stuff. It'll fit most models on the deck. It's a long trailer, but it's, you know, it's not a whole heck of a lot of capacity. Like if you put like a 1970s barge on this, you'd probably break it because those cars were close to 5,000 pounds. But a lot of things will fit on this trailer. You got a lot of, maybe a Tommy Jaguar or the Aoshima Revell Germany Jaguar would fit on here. A new Revell E-Type Jaguar would fit on here. The MGs and all those British cars. Lots of British cars out there that would sit nicely on that trailer behind your Aoshima Range Rover. So anyway, guys, that wraps up this video. Hope you guys had a great weekend, and we'll see you guys on the other side.